Hi, this is Dr. Bernie, and I am a homeopath in Arizona. I treat everyone globally. You've heard my podcasts before. Some of you haven't, so I'm getting you familiar with who I am and what I do. I treat globally, which means I'm online with my consultations, and anyone from anywhere in this world can reach out to me for help for their medical situation. So I do an hour consultation with you online. I find out what's going on with your body. I devise the medicines for you homeopathically, and I send them to you no matter where you live. You can reach me at 480-703-0151. Please go to my website, www.gilbertnaturalmedicine.com. That's www.gilbertnaturalmedicine.com. And today we are educating you on your blood type and what blood types there are and what sugars are all about your blood type. Did you know that no matter what blood type you are, and there are O positive, A, B, AB, B positive, A positive, negative. Most people are O positive. It's pretty common in this country to be O positive. But with every blood type, your body manufactures its own type of blood sugar. And you know, when you go and you had take a test for your blood sugar to see if you're diabetic or pre-diabetic or not diabetic, they measure that by the type of your blood sugar that goes with your blood type. So it's very complex, and we're not going to get into a whole bunch of how they find out if you're diabetic or not. But those of you that are will find this podcast especially important, because hopefully you're going to learn something. Now, let's talk about type O. Type O's make significantly more stomach acid than any of the other blood types, which means that if you're type O, positive or negative, at some time in your life, you're probably going to need an omeprazole or a Nexium or something that's going to control the acid in your stomach. But the best thing to do to control stomach acid from going up into the esophagus and burning it out, and God forbid causing cancer someday, because it can do that, what you could do is remember to eat on time. So having snacks in between your times that you eat is a great idea to control stomach acid. If you have stomach acid in the morning when you wake up, grab some saltine crackers really quick, about 3 or 4 of them, and something to drink real fast, and then take your pills, or take your pills first and then do the crackers. If you wake up in the middle of the night with stomach acid, you might want to pop a few Tums. I'm not telling you what to do, I'm making suggestions. Or you might want to eat some soda crackers even if it is the middle of the night. If you drink water, it can possibly make more stomach acid. Not that it's creating acid, but it's bloating the acid. So it's going to come up into your esophagus. Now the B types are next, followed by AB, and finally AS. And finally, as who makes very little stomach acid. So that would be the B's, the A's, and the AB's. This is important because acid's one of the main components to meat digestion. And most of America are meat eaters. You're carnivores. Why would you want to do that to your body? I have no idea. Because, let me give you a little hint, what meat does, and I don't care if it's red blood meat, which is very dangerous for you, or chicken or turkey, whatever, before it digests, and red blood meat is the hardest to digest, it will lay in your diverticula, which is in the colon, for 3 days before it's excreted out of the body as waste product. And it lays there in the diverticula, which are the little pockets that collect all of this debris, and it rots, and it ferments, and it rots, and you get sick. And that's where you get gas, stomach gas, and that's where you get acid. So be very careful of how much meat you eat if you absolutely have to be a meat eater. Without enough stomach acid, though, protein can't be digested as efficiently. So you do need some stomach acid to break down meats and other proteins that you're eating or taking in. Now, blood types A and B who eat red meat are turning the meat into toxins, just like I told you, and harmful byproducts that can lead to artery damage, high cholesterol, inflammation, and even cancer. The opposite is true for O's and B's. Now, most red meats are a very good source of protein and easily digested by O positive, O negative, because the O's can pretty much eat anything on the planet. And I'm not saying you're safe in doing that, but your stomach acid is so much that it could break down a brick. Another advantage types O and B have with eating meat is they make more IAP, intestinal alkaline phosphatase, enzymes than A and B and AB. Enzymes. These enzymes are another step in meat metabolism, meat breakdown, which split apart cholesterol and increase the absorption of calcium. Type A has the least amount of this, and type O has the most amount of IAP, which plays a part in explaining why A makes a healthier vegetarian. It's okay if you want to be a vegetarian, but the thing to remember is you need protein. So you need to get that protein in somehow, some way. Eggs are protein. Protein powder, protein smoothies are another way you've got to eat protein. And, fish is protein. So you can eat fish, chicken, and turkey. You don't necessarily have to dwell on eating red blood meat. That's so dangerous. Oh my gosh. Another thing, when I think of people that hunt, and you go out and you hunt deer or squirrel or whatever it is you're hunting out there, how do you know if those animals haven't been diseased? How do you know if those animals don't have cancer? You have no idea. So you shoot this gorgeous creature in the wild, which is not yours to kill, because you shouldn't kill any life. But you're a hunter, so what do you care? So you're going to kill it anyway because you hunt. If you hunt to eat, okay. If you hunt for recreation, that's bad news. If you hunt to take the head off of something and mount it, or the tusks off the elephants, who you will kill if you take their tusks. Did you know that if you saw the tusks off an elephant, he will die? How are you going to do that anyway unless you shoot him, right? Slow death to such a magnificent animal. So you shoot this deer and you skin it immediately and you bring it home all chopped up. You freeze the meat. Dear God, you're going to eat dead flesh that's been frozen in time. And you thaw it out and you eat this stuff. How do you know you're not eating cancer cells? Have you ever thought of that? Do you even care? Well, you should, because it's disgusting. Now, how many times have you heard a chicken having cancer? You haven't. You haven't heard of your deer having cancer or the cow having cancer. But there was mad cow disease. They had to kill all these cows. Mad cow disease ran rampant. I forget what year, but they were all so sick. Have you ever seen a sick cow? Oh, my Lord, you should take a look at a sick cow. Because you know how a dog dribbles from their mouth? How the saliva runs from their mouth? Well, with a cow that's sick, saliva will run right out of their noses, and they are so sick. They can't even stand up. So a course of antibiotics has to be administered if they can find a vet to come out to the dairy farm or wherever, the meat farm, wherever, and pump these animals with a whole bunch of antibiotics that, guess what? Guess what happens when they kill this gorgeous, wonderful cow for your enjoyment? You're eating sick meat. And then everybody's wondering where all this cancer is coming from nowadays. You know what? In India, a cow is sacred. I'll bet you in India there's less cancer than there is in the United States. You want to bet? Let's bet. I'll give you $5 if I'm wrong. Watch everybody jump up and grab this bet. Okay. Your blood type is just a small piece of sugar that's stuck on the outside of your red blood cell. So that's how they find your type. Your blood type is by the small amount of sugar that's on the outside of your red blood cell. Did you know that? Did you even realize that? Nope, I don't think so, unless you're a doctor listening to me. Each one of your cells contains millions of different sugars, including the blood type sugars. These sugars are manufactured by the cell itself and controlled by your DNA. So if you came here as an O positive because your parents were O positive, and O positive is dominant anyway, you're going to come with that type of sugar that signifies you are an O type. It's in your DNA. And you'll pass it on to your children. And they will all have the same DNA and all be the same blood type. Just like eye or hair color is a genetic quality, your blood type is a very unique part of who you are. Your blood type doesn't change either, so if you're an AB, you will always be an AB. If you are an O, you will always be an O. It is what it is. It's your DNA. Now, don't think you can change your DNA until sometime in the future when Frankenstein decides to do something with your DNA, which is coming pretty soon. I mean, they're already into cloning, so what's the difference? They clone you, they mess with your DNA, you get the COVID shot, you've changed your DNA, what can I say? Well, let's not take that last little tidbit of information I gave you and ride my back with it, because I don't believe in the COVID shots. Even though I was vaccinated, I don't like the shots because they do damage. And don't tell me they don't. I'm going to tell you this side, the various kinds of sugar there are. Sucrose is table sugar. Dextrose is corn sugar. So sucrose, when you get like different brands of what you're going to call artificial sugar, and it's made from sucrose, that's actually from table sugar. Corn sugar is dextrose. Maltose is malt sugar. Fructose is fruit sugar. Get it? Lactose is milk sugar. So when a mother is breastfeeding her young baby, they're getting lactose and they're getting the milk sugars, which is what makes it so enjoyable and tasty for little babies. Glucose is just basic sugar. Galactose is your blood type sugar. And fructose, not fructose, fructose is blood type sugar. So when they're testing you for diabetes, they're looking at your galactose and your fructose to find out if you're diabetic or not. And they find that where? On the edge outside of the red blood cells. Now, I don't want to get so deep into this that you're just not going to understand it, because this is pretty deep and interesting, but pretty deep information for you. Blood type isn't just in your blood. Your blood type can also be in your saliva, your sweat, your tears, your semen, the vagina, the mucus, and your digestion. So they can find your blood type through all of those ways. there is a process called secretors and non-secretors. And that's found in your chromosomes. So your genes. Bodily fluids don't contain the same amount of blood type sugars that secretors do. And I can't explain that to you because then I'd have to give you a course on blood types. And this is just touching on blood sugar. People aren't the only ones with blood types, okay? The sugars, antigens that make our blood type are actually all around us in your environment. They can be found in a variety of animals and microbes, dirt, and even food. One example, listen up. One example is the virus. That's why I don't like this COVID vaccine. Many types of viruses have antigens, like our own antigens in our bodies, that are made of D-galactose. D-galactose is what makes blood type B. So when somebody who is type B contracts a virus, their chance of infection is even greater. There's so much to learn on this. Pork is another example. It's type A sugar. Seaweed is another example of a different type of sugar. There's people with, all of your different blood types are everywhere. People aren't the only ones with blood types. It's in seaweed and pork and all the animals, in your milk, in the bacteria, in your dust, in viruses. Blood types are everywhere. And some blood types reject different foods and things. Like if you're allergic to and don't get along with milk, it's because you are not getting along with the lactose. Why? Because of your blood type. Because some blood types cannot digest milk. Good thing for us, milk is digested and most of the sugars are broken down with O positive, O negative. However, top of the line are the Bs, the blood type B. They're the only ones who gain a benefit from consuming milk simply because they can digest it. Well, O positive can eat and digest anything if you are not diabetic. Now, you've heard of diabetic insulin and the pancreas, and how come diabetics can't eat certain foods? Well, because of the sugars. How come they can't eat a lot of carbs? Because carbohydrates convert to sugar. I hope you all knew that. Okay. Someday we're going to go into proteins. And we're going to go into gluten and what gluten does. And many of you have allergies toward gluten. You can't digest gluten, so you have to get gluten-free foods. Well, that's okay. And when you're getting organic foods, it doesn't mean that they're free of sugar, because they're not. Because everything on this planet contains a type of sugar. Remember I told you, galactose, fructose, this, that, all different types of sugar. And every time you think you're making a cup of tea or coffee or your cereal and you're going to put in an artificial sugar, if it's sucralose, might as well just use table sugar, because that's what it is. I've talked enough. I've said enough to bore you to death, I guess. But you know what? I hope some of you have learned something, because blood type is important. And you should all know your blood type. And if you've ever had a blood test or been to a hospital where they took your blood, call them and get a copy of your blood type, because if you ever have to go into emergency, at least you're going to know what your blood type is if they decide to put an intravenous in you somewhere for something. So they want to know your blood type. They don't always take your blood and check your blood type. So it's a good thing if you know your blood type so you could tell them. And it's also a good thing for you to know your blood type if you're going to a restaurant to order food. You got to know what to eat and what not to eat. So we'll further this little journey together at a later time. But remember, eat for your blood type. I'm going to tell you that you can go on the internet and you can put into the search bar, eat for your blood type, and you'll come up with a company called D''Adamo, A-D-A-M-O. D'Adamo puts out blood type diets and a book all about your blood type. If you want to get one of these books through me, then you would call me at 480-703-0151 or go to my website, www.gilbertnaturalmedicine.com, and request a blood type booklet, and I will send it to you free of charge. Because everyone has to know their blood type, and this is very important. If you ever need a medical consultation, everything is done online right now. Don't have to get in your car and travel to see me. Thus, you are staying away from getting sick or being exposed to all of this nonsense going around the entire world right now, which is COVID and variants and all that stuff. Stay your distance from everyone, please, when you're shopping. Remember, people are touching everything. You go to the produce aisle, and people are picking up different tomatoes and lemons and all this stuff and putting them down after they touched them. When you go home, wash your hands and wash all of your produce that other people sneeze in their hands, cough in their hands, go to the produce aisle and touch everything. Wash everything off. It's going to help you stay well. This is Dr. Bernie. Thanks for listening, and we will do this again. School's out.